Welcome, viewers. We welcome you today for discussion fashion communication. You may be enrolled students or you are planning to registration for the certificate program in fashion design from the School of Vocational Education Training, IGNO. We are here to discuss detail about the topic for discussion fashion communication. Before that, I would like to apprise for those viewers who are interested to register for this particular program. The registration process for this particular program is open. For the detailed information, you can visit our webpage www.igno.ac.in. Or if you are already registered for this particular program, let me discuss the topic for discussion details and the course structure which you may be aware. This course is divided into four categories. First program and course is Fundamental of Fashion Design. Second course is Basic Pattern Making and Swing. And third course is for this particular program is Introduction to Fashion Industry. And fourth is Communication and Entrepreneurship. The fourth course what we are discussing today is Communication and Entrepreneurship, that is called BFD 074. And the date discussions, the topic which we are discussing today, that is related to this particular course. And if you see the structures of this particular course, that is divided into three blocks. And block 1 is talking about social skills in business communication. And second block is talking about basics of fashion communication. And block 3 talking about entrepreneurship. And today, what we are discussing detail, that is block 2, basics of fashion communication. And under this block, we have 3 units which we will be discussing in detail, that is fashion communication, concept, and communication skills for fashion, and role of social media in fashion communication. Now, you might be having a lot of questions in mind. How this fashion communication is totally different from the communication what we are discussing in general in our all day-to-day life, or even languages courses or others skill-based program. Let me explain the fashion communication. The meaning and conceptual framework of the fashion communication is to giving the framework and also the marketing of the fashion products, livelihood, lifestyles, etc. On the other hand side, if you see the communication skills, we are talking about the interpersonal skills and how you perform at the time of your employment. Also, we consider this communication skills. This is the basic differentiate between fashion communications, and second point is communication skills. Now, how this interrelated fashion communications and communication skills, we will discuss in detail. That's a topic for discussion. Is let us understand the basic concepts of the fashion communications and how these are collated in the particular program or courses, why it's required in your program or this particular course. Because if you go for fashion industry and the industry employers are looking to you, have you any additional knowledge about the fashion communications, or you have only communication skills? So there's a lot of full-fledged courses programs which are being offered across the globe. In India also, there are degree level programs that is we call fashion communication. And how we have integrated the certificate program, because we realize, industry realize, we require the person who is coming to employment, they should have knowledge of the basic communication, and that is called fashion communication. So in 3 topics what we are discussing correlated with the unit 3, that is unit 5, we are talking about the conceptual framework, and this unit also explain the particular block introductions what we describe communication skills for fashion. Here you see the understand the basic differentiate जो अभी आपसे हमने डिस्कस किया कि फैशन कम्युनिकेशंस और कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स में डिफरेंशिएट है. जनरल कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स में हम इंटरपर्सनल स्किल्स की बात करते हैं, और फैशन कम्युनिकेशन में यू आर मार्केटिंग योर फैशन प्रोडक्ट और लाइफस्टाइल्स और योर अदर रिलेटेड फैशन थिंग्स और फैशन इंडस्ट्री. सो द पॉइंट कम्स हेयर, लास्ट यूनिट ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर ब्लॉक इज टॉकिंग अबाउट द रोल ऑफ social media in fashion communication and the future of fashion products, and that is only in India, not only but also across the globe. So we are discussing here now fashion communication concept, That unit 5 of this particular block. And conceptual framework we described after reading this particular unit or session of this particular live programs, we expect from you, you will be able to understand the basics of fashion communication through media formats like journalism, print, electronics, or new media. Now we are discussing the print. What are the print mechanism to deliberately the fashion products or fashion industry? And electronics, yes, we were having a lot of TV channels, radio programs, and other things that we have to highlight the fashion products. Third is new media. New media is talking about the events promoter like public relations and advertising, social media we can consider. And then exhibition design, that is visual merchandising, and also window display. So these are the cultural studies and fashion include the understand the basic concept after this unit. हम ये expect कर रहे हैं after this session, or if you are students, after reading this particular unit or lessons, you will be able to understand the basics of fashion communications, that is print, electronic media, and social network. And second point we expect from you, you have to relate the fashion communication concepts with fashion reportage in a daily lives across various channels. So as a learner, you will learn the conceptual framework of fashion business and its relation to the fashion communication process and contextualize influence of media in fashion and vice versa. So very interesting facts. Recently we have seen some latest marketing trend of fashion. Not only this traditional way or print and electronics way, learners and our youths are mostly expecting these celebrities and how they are wearing the particular product or male, female, baby or old person. They see we require this particular brand or we require this particular this design of the shirts or saris or kids wears. So in that case, latest research people find in different cultural influences there. Whatever in metro cities we are disliking the designing of the product, but it is not applicable in other region within a country or within across the globe also in different countries. So it's a very challenges fashion industry is facing, because today taste of the customer is require this particular brand or design. Tomorrow it may not be. So under that circumstances, the issue is how quickly the fashion design industry or fashion industry looking the innovative ideas to sell their product and meet the demand of the youth, which is required immediately today, but it may not be required tomorrow. This basic learning outcome we are expecting from this fashion communication conceptual framework, and how to communicate the concepts and definitions we explain in particular this blog, that is fashion journalism. We describe reporting to the fashion culture and lifestyles, that is fashion journalism. How different journalism? Because journalism in the context of fashion we are explaining this basic framework, conceptual framework, and we also explain the graphic designs for fashion. You will see our study materials printed online available, where illustrations we have given, where symbols, words, and photography explain. So under that is also fashion communications skills, and this information be disseminated among the customer, consumer, or as a learner. When you see our printed material or electronics material, you will see our colorful illustration designers, how they have presented this particular fashion design for a particular age group. So fashion broadcasting and fashion films is the third this conceptual framework which we have explained. So communication is related to the context of the fashion products. So fashion broadcasting and fashion films like radio, TV, blogs is another medium we have explained, and basic conceptual framework with the examples this unit is talking about. So visual merchandising and window display for fashion like the art of displaying products and its exhibitions format or your fashion show format, all these things are including under this fashion communication conceptual framework. So fashion styling, clothes and accessory for print and electronic media and public appearances made by the celebrities I just said is included in this particular fashion communication. But some of our students, those who are viewing these programs, may not be aware about this basic concept. But as a customer, as a consumer, you might be aware so many things which we have included in this particular block. So block is not talking about the particular conceptual of fashion communication. It is covering the all fashion product sale marketing and different platforms. Basically, ultimate idea is this. Now coming to this particular other conceptual framework, what we this unit describe, that is fashion photography. You see that the corner of the photography and types of photography or kind of photography, this is specifically is influence of the fashion photography. If you see the left hand side of the pics, which we have used to see, I want this particular sari for our rural product, and this is created by the AI, and we have given our own idea and creation of that public requirement. Some of the individual demand is there. I like this particular color of this dress or garments, and we require for a particular purpose. And in that case, very funny experiences we have. Our students, those who are coming to register for this particular programs, they are also telling we are also creating through AI our fashion communication skills while designing this particular product, which we have shown the left hand side of this screen. So we come out this fashion public relations, that is promotions of fashion product. Here we have taken fashion product for our rural women, and rural women is demanding only local culture wear product. You see the industry is looking the demand of particular fashion product, keeping in mind the individual culture and religious demand. That factor we have taken care of when designing this particular product. नो फैशन इवेंट डिज़ाइन क्या होता है ये भी हमने उसको बताया कि व्हेन वी आर क्रिएटिंग ए स्पेस डिज़ाइन फॉर फैशन रिलेटेड प्रोडक्ट दैट आल्सो वी हैव टेकन. नो एक बड़े अच्छी कंज्यूमर्स की एक स्टडी हमारे पास फैशन प्रोडक्ट की आई और उसमें इनोवेशन डिज़ाइन से एक फैशन डिज़ाइन से प्रोडक्ट बनाया. अब फैशन डिज़ाइनर्स ने उस प्रोडक्ट को बनाने के साथ एआई से मदद लेने के बाद उस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में सेल करने के लिए जब सेल करने के लिए मार्केट में गए उसका सेल नहीं हुआ. So it's a lot of innovations, ideas. It is lot of efforts made by the industry and manufacturers to sell this product, but it was not succeeded. Then they find out the factors. They find the location of the particular this sale product was not meeting the demand of the local people. Number one. Number two, they also find out that this when we design this innovative idea, we thought keeping in mind the customer interest, it will be applicable across all the customer that is scattered in geographically or culturally different stages and different places. But when product we launch, after launching this particular product, then they realize that it required the factors, local factors, demand, paying capacity of because everybody can't afford this price of the what we have designed. And third, if industry is looking, the targeting some specific group of people for selling this product, and they have conducted a study, marketing survey liking and disliking of the product, then they design fashion marketing and consumer behavior. What we are explaining here, fashion marketing and consumer behavior is very, very important part of this particular fashion industry, which we have explained the conceptual framework in this particular unit. Then the most important part is, as in today's world, fashion and social media. Fashion and social media, we are discussing the details of all social media network, how our customers, our youth, or even old persons are influenced by the social media through their celebrities wearing the products or fashion products or clothes or ready-made garments products that we also consider. So cultural studies and visual research for that also influence, just I said, that also conceptual framework we have taken care of when we are designing the fashion communication. So fashion in basically this all cultural for values research, that theoretical, political and empirical engagement of the culture of fashion. That was the reason why this fashion industry, that particular product was not sold out. That factor we have taken care of when we are explaining this particular fashion communication conceptual framework. Now coming to unit 6, what we discuss in this block, communication skills for fashion. Now earlier we are discussing fashion particular conceptual framework. Here this particular unit introduced to the nuances of the communication skills for fashion, professional concept and definition, oral and written communication skills for fashion graduates. This is particularly we designed for the students, keeping in mind the world of fashion not only limited to design or designers have a totally communicate their teams, client, buyer. So that fashion communication skills to be how to communicate within the stakeholders of the fashion industry. You may be a manufacturer, you may be designers, you may be selling outlet personnel or retailers. So these fashion communication skill we have designed keeping in mind the particular stakeholders, how they communicate each other instead of retailing skills what they are selling in the garment products. So learning outcome we are expecting from this particular unit is you will be able to demonstrate understanding the nuances of the communication in fashion, and you will be able to describe basic elements of fashion in writing like colors, textures and shorters. So communications effective if you are able to communicate effectively through written, oral and presentation skill in fashion context. Your presentation skills will be also in the context of fashion products is matter when we are going to sell the product, and you are able to applying writing skills effectively in different organizational and business purpose when you are selling the product. These skills when we raise the 5-6 questions. Why study communication skills for fashion? That is very important for skill enhancement in the job market and employability. That's why we explain why study communication skill for fashion. And 2, concepts and definition. This unit further highlighted the various communication skills for fashion and means of communications and written and writing a fashion press release. That's why I said writing skills and how the fashion you are raising the press or printing media or electronic media and making creative presentation when you are presenting your all products. How creative mind ideas you are using while presentation of this particular fashion product. So there are the 3 things which you have to keep in mind and unit highlighted. एक तो है concepts and definitions. Concepts and definitions क्या है? That is communication skills which I have already discussed, and communication skills for fashion. दोनों का difference पता होना चाहिए. Then you have to means of communications interpersonal or interpersonal. That is interpersonal and mass communication. Differentiate between these 3 things, because interpersonal you have to your own personal skills, interpersonal how you have to communicate it with a team, and mass communication how you are selling the product in masses and largest populations among your area when you are selling the product. So 3 type of differentiate of your fashion communication skills you must know when you are selling the product, particular fashion product. Then writing a fashion press release. This unit also have given illustrations and with the good examples how to write a fashion press release, and that is very important when you are having a graduate or certificate or diploma holders in fashion communication skills and your job role defined in particular in a fashion industry to write a fashion press release and to making a creative presentation. There's 2 points we have given focus because it's require fashion industry while recruiting their or employee at the time of interview. So we think the communication skills for fashion is essentially and defined by the notion of change, its dynamic nature, its continuous transformations, adaptations, innovations lies in the multitudes of creations on which it is based and which are appearing on the market at an increasing pace. So fashion itself is an expressions and fashion industry is a long value chain staying from the primary level to the consumer. So this type of communication skills for fashion we have defined, and mode of communication we already discussed, and 3 focus should be given, that is interpersonal communication and interpersonal communication and mass communication. So interpersonal communication we already highlighted, and these 3 types of communication skills you should have knowledge while representing this. And fashion journalism, how is it different from the general journalism? That is, fashion journalism is a special type of communication, and you as a learners after getting this certificate of this particular program, you require to perform in respective enterprises while writing these fashion writing related things like our fashion show celebrations or staging the event, etc. So it is a type of communication which is carried out as part of fashion media communication. Number 2, if you are having these qualifications, so industry is looking to you have to lead the newsletters or magazines where you have to act as editorial and pictorial, advertorial and portraits and profile product presentations, and you have a fashion trends, ecotics and interview news, all these things to be required these things with example. What is the illustration, how to write these editorials, fashion editorials, we have highlighted in this particular unit with the illustrations and examples, and you will be able to know the communication through image, how this fashion communication skill has been demonstrated, that is require runway photography, photo catalog, and product photography, and pictorial photography, and photo book, beauty photography, street styles photography with example of works and photographers. And second point is event planning, when your organizations or industry or your company where you are working, or you are planning to join there as a fashion communication expert, so you require to organize event and event planning, and as a planning press conference and discourse, planning media files and press release and the agenda, and finally in post even press monitoring and assessment. Establishing your event budget is one of the most important part of planning the event, which organizations and your CEO will advise you that type of job roles and your activities and steps, how to organize this event, how to plan this fashion show event, we have highlighted with the example and case studies. So this unit was basically focusing on writing for fashion, press release, press invitations, and drafting creative presentations. That illustrations also highlighted. आप जब इस कोर्स को पढ़ेंगे और जब हमारे इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स मीडिया और जो ई ज्ञान कोर्स में मटेरियल्स हैं और हार्ड कॉपी भी आपके पास है और नहीं है, यदि आप उस यूनिट मटेरियल्स को रिसीव किया है तो आप देखिए हमने कैसे उस केस स्टडी को प्रेजेंट किया जब प्रेस इन्विटेशन का लेटर ड्राफ्ट किया है। उस केस में ये बताया है कि आपको किस चीज़ का ध्यान रखना है, आपको उस इवेंट की जो फैशन प्रोडक्ट है उसकी मार्केटिंग को ध्यान में रख के और कैसे ये मार्केटिंग करनी है उसके स्टेप्स बताए हैं, और स्टेप्स बताने के बाद उस फैशन डिज़ाइनर्स ने जिसने इसको डिज़ाइन किया है उसके इनोवेटिव आइडियाज़ को हाईलाइट करना है और कैसे फिट रहेगा आज की डिमांड के हिसाब से. दिस पॉइंट वी हैव कवर्ड ऑन दैट. सो व्हेन यू टाइम और kinds of fashion product we have considered. So drafting creative presentation is also your job role, and how to draft these creative presentations with the PowerPoint or other sites, apps or designing apps, latest technology and AI roles as I highlighted can also be used for this particular while writing for fashion communication. Now the role of social media, what we are discussing, is very, very important, and because this is the last unit of this block which we are discussing, all marketing product, not only fashion, if you see other product also these days, the social media influencing a lot among the prospective consumers. So role of social media in fashion communication, we expecting from you as a learner, you will be able to define what is social media. I know everybody knows, but despite of that, we highlighted latest trends in the context of the fashion and the various popular platform of social media. That is our expectation. And as a learner, you will be able to explain the relationship between the fashion industry and its communication on social media, and you will be able to understand what and who are influences and influences marketing in the fashion industry. 3 points which highlighted. Now this unit discuss why should you study social media and concepts and definitions and various kinds of social media. Yes, you know, why various kinds of, in which context we have used for marketing perspective we have taken, and role of social media in fashion and future of fashion, that is very important. And I just highlighted at the beginning how this block, this particular course is helping for the fashion industry, the role of social media for the future of fashion through social media. Now coming to what is social media, you know, like Facebook or your WhatsApp, Instagram, Tube, you know. But the point is here, various kinds of social media, when we have taken care of, like media sharing network or discussion forums, blogs, or consumer review network, or blogging and publishing network, interest-based network. What is interest-based network? That is very interesting. Because everybody, customer have different taste, different age groups, and they have different paying capacity to buy the fashion product. It is not everybody cup of tea. So when you are going to buy the particular product, you should have the affordability and price of the cost. So interest-based network, we find that this particular geographical area, and this is the post area of this particular regions, and they have the paying capacity to buy this fashion product. So industry design that particular area of interest, and then design the demand. They have also studied how many people, what age group are located in this particular region, and they open up the outlet or malls or branded products and sell there. And this type of interest-based network is very much needed, which we have explained with the example. So here, the role of social media in fashion explained. Cut across social media platforms. Because of average internet user interest level in the subject, India is highest internet user across the globe. Not only does social media allow more access to information, now it is also has become an easier, cheaper and faster way to find out the information. There no need to go market, see the products. You online you can immediately check a social network, where the emergence of social media has become a boom for the many of these brands, because it is much easier than before this spread award about the established brands to these region. So coming to this quickly, we have a very less time. And role of social media in fashion communication, that is Instagram, Twitter and Facebook and Pinterest and YouTube. We selected most of this social network, our marketing process of the fashion going on, the content marketing and influencer marketing and social media advertising. And there is also overway of the social media e-commerce, Mantra or H&M. These are the sites which are there. So here, future of fashion through social media, and that is future of social media. We're discussing influence marketing, branding in social media and blogging and logoing. So we designed this particular case studies. Our youth, those who are registered this program or those who are planning to register for this particular program, you will not find any interactive in this course material. What our School of Vocational Education IGNOU had designed this particular program, and that program will be also available online, and you can also see our detailed information on our IGNOU web page. If any queries, I hope you enjoyed this particular session on fashion communication. Still you have queries, you please mail us cfde@ignou.ac in.